entrar no ar. Bom, pessoal, bom dia. Bom dia para quem está aqui no auditório, acompanhando essa atividade organizada pela Comissão de Cooperação Nacional e Internacional. Bom dia também para quem está acompanhando a transmissão online pelo canal do YouTube. Então, a gente vai dar início a essa sessão chamada de Diálogos, né, entre São Paulo e Alemanha, com a Universidade de Potsdam. A gente tem dois convidados da Universidade de Potsdam, a professora Winnie-Karen Giera. Did I pronounce it correctly? Winnie-Karen. Da Universidade de Potsdam, e também com o pesquisador Walid Badawi, que estão em visita aqui no Brasil e aqui na faculdade durante essa semana. Então, hoje e amanhã eles estarão aqui. Então, para quem estiver acompanhando online essa atividade, a gente lembra que vocês entrem lá no site da faculdade, façam a sua inscrição para a gente ter direitinho a informação do número de pessoas para a emissão de certificado. Durante a atividade vai ser disponibilizada, então, uma lista para quem estiver online no chat para poder incluir a frequência. Para quem está aqui presencialmente no auditório, a gente já está passando a lista de frequência. Então, a gente vai iniciar com uma breve apresentação da professora e depois a gente vai abrir para perguntas das pessoas que estão acompanhando aqui presencialmente, mesclando também com perguntas que vocês eventualmente possam ter das pessoas que estão acompanhando pelo chat. I was just introducing where you come from, some general instruction for them, for those that are attending in person here, and for those that are attending online on the web chat, because you are going to make available a list, a form, for them to register their presence during this event. We are going to start with a brief presentation, and after that they can do some questions or comments that they have about it. So thank you very, very much for your availability and the possibility of a collaboration with us, and you are really welcome to the University of São Paulo Faculty of Education. And I guess that we can start now. Please.
Thank you very much for your introduction. So my name is Winnie-Karen Giera. I have got the UNA Professorship for German Didactics in an inclusive context with special education needs in language and communication for secondary level. And we are from both, my research assistant too, we are both from the University of Potsdam. And Potsdam, it's a very nice town. It's next to Berlin in Germany. And we say it is the little sister and very, very beautiful sister of the big town Berlin. And so if you are very interested in Potsdam, then you would be very expressed of the water, of the castles, of the parks, and you can go around there. It's very, very lovely to be there and to study there too. So the University of Potsdam is over 31 years old, so we are a young university. We have 7 faculties in Potsdam and over 40,000 students. And we have also the teacher education located at our university. So in our county, the University of Potsdam is responsible for the teacher education for primary school and secondary school, and also for the schools with special educational needs. I'm responsible for the teacher education for special education needs and learning, for language learning. And in the last year, I was also teacher in secondary schools in inclusive classrooms, and I taught language education, the subject German, reading and writing, presentations and debating, theater playing, but also politics and the preparation for job orientation. So like to go to prepare our students for internships and so on. So that was my history, but as teacher, I have seen so much individual students with so much power, but they were all different. And it was very hard as teacher to implement all these kind of power in one classroom. And I had one question: how could we implement all students with special educational needs, with a lot of power, with difficult stories, history stories, with difficulties in social backgrounds and so on. So this was a step for me to go back to the university, to do research and to find these questions. Now, as a researcher, I could present you some school projects and research projects, not all, but you can see my work, and perhaps you are interested in these kind of works, then please write me an email, or you can check the QR code. There you can see, and then you are at our website, and you can read again all our projects, and perhaps we could connect each other. So I'm very interested in future teachers and their ideas. I'm interested in research, in literacy research, in research in special educational needs. I'm very interested in PhD thesis in this kind of area. So we have a lot of international cooperations too in this field, because we know and we can see these questions are very important, not only for me and for Germany. It is a question all over the world in the teacher education and in schools. To see there's a young girl or a young boy, to see they have dreams, and as teacher, you've got the power to support them, that they are a part of the society and that they can live their dreams. That's my reason why I'm here, because I'm very interested in the university and in the school of this on your campus, and I hope to bring us together with more ideas and more answers. So now you can see our little agenda. I think we don't have so much time, but I will give you some impressions of my projects. So one is a teaching model. The second one is a theater project, and the third one is a research and school project with the topic debating and argumentative writing. I will give you a little short introduction about challenges and our vision. So now you can see our history for inclusive learning in Germany, and there you can see at the last bottom under the quotation that we have the law since 2009 that we are all responsible to integrate children with special educational needs. But we have one problem in Germany, because every county is responsible for the education. So we don't have any central system. So every county is very powerful and said, okay, that's the way how you teach. So we have a lot of different kinds of schools. We don't have even the higher education track and the non-higher education track. We have in the non-higher education track a lot of kind of schools. And we have in our history, in our school history, there are very separated. Because we said, okay, you're a young boy and you're a young girl, but you have a lot of, for instance, skills. So perhaps for you, the higher education track is better than the non-higher education track. That was the history, and some is still in our actually handling. But we want to change it, and we have the law, and now we are in the process to transform the school system. It's a hard way, but I think we could learn from other countries, like in your country. That is the mission we are in my heart, and that's the literacy. I think literacy is a right, and it should be a right. And there you can see a very nice and interesting association. It's called AliNet. There are a lot of researchers all over the world who are connecting together and who want to change the school systems and to say, okay, the literacy is very powerful. And there you can see a quotation. It's called "Everyone in Europe," and I think not only in Europe, everyone in Europe has the right to require literacy. It should be provided with the necessary resources and opportunities to develop sufficient and sustainable literacy skills and knowledge in order to effectively understand and use written communication in print and digital media. So that's why I'm here. And we want, and that's the mission, to close the gaps between those who have good literacy skills and those who struggle. So in my research projects, I'm in a cooperation with 11 another schools. So these are several public schools, and sometimes even public schools here in Brazil and in Colombia, Bogota, Indonesia, and also preparing a cooperation for Sri Lanka. So we have another research project and school projects, and that's the vision is be a part, and we could create to be a part to promote the communication and writing skills, to be a part in the profession or in the politics or in the culture. I will give you a short introduction in our actually teaching model. Here you can see some pictures of my research partners. So begin small. If you have an idea, begin small, and then you can grow very big. So you can see the first photo on the left side. It was only a little group, but we grow, and we have a lot of ideas, not only between researchers. We have ideas, or got ideas from the future teachers, from the teachers in public and private schools, from policymakers too. And in this year, you can see on the right side, another two photos. There was a big conference for teachers in public schools who are interested in special educational teaching and learning. And that was a very, very interesting day, because all teachers said to me, yeah, we know why we are here. Yes, and I think I do it and I know it, but we don't have any model or any legal model that we can describe our teaching to parents or to other policymakers. That was the starting point, to create a visual model. On the next slide, you can see there's a quotation too, because all different researchers have an idea for inclusive learning. And it was very hard to say, okay, what's the consensus? So we have dealt with a lot of references, and that is the conclusion. And I will read it out. The term inclusion in the school context stands for learning and working together within a school community for teaching. This means that the individual learning requirements of all students are recognized in an appreciative manner and are taken into account in the systematic design of learning opportunities. So it's only one sentence, but every term is very important. So school context means the reference to the school in the time when the school supervision has the responsibility for the pupils, including under school supervision is the entire pedagogical staff. So everyone is responsible for this atmosphere. Teaching means the local and temporal framework in which the teacher or the extended pedagogical team within the learning group is responsible for the students and for the associated learning opportunities. These can take place both in school and locally outside of school during school hours. And school community includes all persons in the school, thus students, teachers, pedagogies, technical and administrative staff are fully included. Collaborative learning means interdisciplinary, subject-related as well as process-related learning at a school with inclusive teaching learning settings. A systematic design of learning opportunities includes the planned and reflected conception, implementation, and follow-up of learning arrangements for individual students or a learning group that fit curricular requirements and diagnosed learning prerequisites. Processual refers to learning processes, for instance, the gradual successive phases for acquiring and consolidating competencies. Individual learning conditions are personality traits, permanent or temporary, that directly and or indirectly affect students' learning, for example, work rate, ability to concentrate, ethnic background, sexual orientation, learning strategy knowledge, or performance radiance. We speak of appreciative recognition when the school as a whole considers individual learning preferences as part of diversity and accepts the associated resources and needs without questions. So now you can see that's only in German, but I will go through the cycle. And we will translate it in the next months too. In the focus in this model, there is the aim to create a learning environment, not only in front with the teachers, but with the students together. And you can see at 1 a.m., the first stage is to think through, okay, what are the learning desires of my students, to match them with the curriculum. That's matching. Yeah. And the second phase is for our as teachers to go through the learning topic. So that's why we're here at the university, to learn more about one topic. On 2 p.m. you can see we have a lot of different learning skills, and we have to test them or to observe them. We have to document the different learning skills to one topic. First, before I'm starting with teaching. At 3 p.m. you could create together with the students goal settings to one learning topic, goal setting. Okay, what is to this, for instance, the learning setting, writing an argumentative text. So what is the next level for you, Anna? What is the next level for you, Pedro? What is the next level for you, Max? So, and in this part, that's very important to show the different goal settings together with the students and together with the parents, and that they document their goal settings, that they have it in their mind. And then our works begin as teachers. So now we know all the stuff and the ideas and the goal settings. Then we have to create a learning environment with different materials, with different time phases, with different steps, with different learning environments and rooms, the digital room too. And that's our work. And we have to give them activities to do this. We have to give them rooms. For instance, the writing skills are very different in one classrooms. You can observe that some students are very interested in writing, so they will sitting behind at the class, and they are still writing, and they have a very good concentration to do this. But you have a lot of students who are not very interested in writing. Not why they are not interested in, they struggling with writing because they have to concentrate. Writing is very complex. You have to plan it, you have to write, you have to rewrite, you have to talk to other guys about your text. You have to delete a lot of sentences. And younger students, they love their sentences, and sometimes you have to say, okay, you're on the way of writing to one genre, to one writing task, but you have to lead one question, one sentences, or you have to rewrite, and it's a very powerful stage in writing, and sometimes we see it at our universities too. If you are a freshman or freshwoman at the university, you have to deal with a lot of genres at the university, and you are still struggling because you don't know the genre. You have to learn it, but in your case, you know the writing process. You know that you have to plan. You have to deal with the different genres and criteria. You have to write. Sometimes you got a feedback for your text, and you have to rewrite it too. And then this procedure is very normal for you, but not for the young or struggling writers. So it could be that you are in one classroom in 9th grade, and you can see the writing competences are very different. So you have to handle it. And you can also see what are you doing. You can see some very powerful writers, they don't need all stages of your competence as teachers, so they don't need the basis competences. They are on the next stage to know more about genre writing and so on. But sometimes, and we see it, or I saw it in the 7th grade, that sometimes the students are struggling with the handwriting. It's not very fluency, and we know from the research, if it's not very fluency, then you cannot handle with the whole text and to get the ideas of your mind in your text. So in this field, we have to keep in mind the basis and the basics competence. But if you are creating a text, then you can read anything. And in all your stage of teaching, at 9 p.m. you can see it, there's a little performance. For instance, if you are teaching math, then you can give them some task and you can see the solutions of the mathematic tasks. So in all our teaching, there is a phase of performance. You can observe it. You can give the observation part for learning assistance or for other students in the class. Or so it's not only the field for the teacher. So you can implement the observation from the students too. And then what's going on at 10 p.m. you can see it. This is very important, the reflection time and the feedback time to handle with new impulses to learn. And it is also necessary that you have time for coachings and for talks to talk with your students over their learning way and their learning environment and the next steps. Not in every lesson, but you have to keep it in mind if you are creating a big series of lessons, that you have one phase-free time to go in the dialogue with your students, to reflect their learning way, and to get more impulses for you as teachers to create in the next grade a better way for teaching. But we need also, and you can see there are some yellow highlighted parts. You need resources, and these are the yellow highlighted parts. So we have to keep in mind the professional of the teachers. The teachers have to learn a lot of in the university about these kind of teaching and learning. We need resources, for instance, rooms, assistance, time, very, very important. But we have to keep in mind where are we teaching. So the atmosphere of the school, the atmosphere of in my town, it is a big influence in my teaching. So you can see there are a lot of variables who are responsible for my teaching and for learning for the students. And you cannot handle, in the first time, you cannot handle all these parts. So, but you have to keep in mind these variables are important for your teaching. So sometimes you are very good prepared for the teaching lesson. And then you said, okay, it was very well prepared, a lot of assistance in my rooms, and but it doesn't work. Then you go in the reflection with your students and also with your colleagues, and you can use this model to go through, okay, where is the field I didn't focused on. And then it's a good model not only for the teaching act, also for planning teaching and for reflecting teaching. And that's very powerful. Okay, go through. Okay, I think I have 10 minutes time. 10, okay. I will give you only a little impression of my theater project. And it's called Stop Mobbing, a participatory theater project to promote literacy, self-efficacy, and social interaction in inclusive learning groups. And it's a design-based research study. So that means that we are working together with teacher education students, with teachers, and also with researchers in public schools, and to know more about this kind of teaching project. You can see Stop Mobbing, it's the topic about bullying, but we said, okay, to create a theater project together with students is more than reading. It's more than speak about bullying. It's even more that we could analyze in our research. So that's so powerful to have this kind of project, but we want to sample data, but we have to be more open as research too. We couldn't catch all data, but we have to document the learning efforts of the students, and that's what we're now doing in a lot of cycles. Here I will give you only a short introduction about reading competences. Perhaps you know it. So reading, we can observe it in the process level. You can show anybody, you can give a text, and then you said, okay, read it out, and then you can observe the word and phrase identification, the local occurrence, global occurrence, and so on. But if we speak together about this text, but there's even more. On the subject level, you can see that there is more about participation, it's about reading motivation and reflection, and it's about the reader and their self-concept as reader or non-reader. And on the social level, you can see if you are in a classroom and you give a text, then you can see there is a communication. On the communication level, there is a new impulses too. So sometimes you are speaking in the schools about the text, or with your parents at home, that's the best, or with your peers. So we have a lot of influences in 3 levels. And if you are working with the text in your theater projects, then you have at all 3 levels, you will see there are more skills you could promote with your students. Okay, weiter. So the play engagement with a play on local and global occurrence at the process level, participation at the subject level, and peer interaction at the social level, that's all you can reach it with a theater project and with one text. Because the theater stage is a show space in the linguistic and non-linguistic possibilities of realization that go beyond the reception of the play. Okay, why bullying? We have a lot of trouble with bullying in schools in Germany too, even in the primary schools. And after the primary schools, the students go to another school in Germany, and so all their classmates, they're all new. They have to do more new routes in their class. But as teacher, you can see they wear a lot of backpack with bullying in the primary school. And I could see it, and that was the starting time to say, okay, this is a very important topic for my students, so I will implement it in the reading text and in the theater play to reflect their experiences and to have other rules for social learning and social togetherness. My research question is, how can a theater project promote the reading competence and the social interaction? Here you can see the detailed research question and hypothesis, but I think we have, because of the time, a little bit go through the slides. Okay, another. Okay, here, we stop it. Design-based research, if you go with your research in a design-based research, then you can read it out that you have to go through different cycles. Perhaps you know this. So the starting point was the cyclist yellow. This was at one school. I was a teacher and I have implemented the theater project as a teacher one time in a week over in a distance of 4 months. And then as a researcher, I implemented in a girls club outside of the schools. With they were very different in their age and in their reading skills, but we have learned a lot of this project, because to know more about their reading skills, and in combination with the theater project, so it could be only a little project, but you can decrease this in other schools, and we did it. So in the gray cyclist is the cyclist 2. This was the starting time for the research and for sampling data in one schools with 3 classes. And we did it also in one school with 2 classes. That's the third cyclist. And now at the moment we are on we are at 2 schools with 6 classes. So begin small and grow big. So that's my that's my tip for you. And then you can collect a lot of data to know more about this teaching project. Okay, we don't have so much time to go through this kind of project, but you can see it was first only a school and a teaching project, and now it's a research and teaching project too in public schools. And it works very well, but we will see it in the data at the end of the year. Okay, we go a little bit through. Here are some photos. And I will give you a short impression of the last project for today. Yeah, we have measured the reading competences, and we have done field observations. That's very powerful for the research. Okay, the references. Okay, so my last project is called Fair Debating and Argumentative Writing in grade 9. It's first it was a school project too, but then it was a research project, and I will go through it. Weiter. Okay, the global research question is, how can written language competencies of 9th grade students be assessed and developed within the framework of a school project and through 2 series of lessons on debating and written argumentation? So that was the end. So You have to go through. Okay, so here you can see the 6 sessions for debating. It's so first of all, we try to debate to a joke question. For instance, should all teachers wear jogging pants? So it could be a nonsense. But to go, that's the first touch to debate. But then you can slide a debate, because this debate is very structured, in 3 parts: to prepare the introduction, to prepare the conversation, and to prepare the final speech in the debating. And then, if you go through these scaffolding phases, then at the 5th phase, you can begin with another learning group with a new topic. So, for instance, if you have a classroom with 30 students, then first you go through the first 4 stages, but then you can create small groups, and they can use one own topic of their own words. For instance, it could be a question of one subject, or it could be a question of their own environment, and then they have to they're a team of 4 students, and they have to collect a lot of references and sources. They have to read, and you will see there are a lot of reading situations, and you say, oh yeah, okay, you have to read. So, and you give them scaffolds for reading strategies too, because then they said, okay, I couldn't collect some books of this topic. They have to use the digital media too, and that's the point. In this situation, you can scaffold this reading skills and reading situation to ask, okay, you can see one resource. Is this a good resource? How you could manage it? Could you check this reference? So these are very important questions, not even for the students at schools, even for us as an owner with a smartphone too. So these are a very important question now in our global media world. And after that, then they are created, or they plan the argumentation, pro and con. But now they have to use a cube, and then the cube, he is responsible, where are you sitting? So it could be that I'm very interested in one topic on one side, pro, as private person, but the cube decides for you, now you're on the con. So the students have to prepare their debating very well, because it could be that the cube decides for you, you're on the pro and you're on the con. 2 guys are on the pro side, 2 guys on the other side, and the 4 students they have to debate. And it's very structured, so there is a timekeeper too. And after that, there is some criticism, because they said, okay, now we could hear and debating very well and nice. Okay, where is the effort? The efforts are, you have to read a lot of one topic. You have to use reading skills and reading strategies. You have to leave your own opinion, your first own opinion. For instance, you have to debate on another side. So there is another perspectives you have to keep in mind. You have to speak a lot. You have to hear what are the argumentative arguments of the other side. You have to keep it, and you have to, there's a reconstruction of your argumentative too. And if you are finished with the debating, then you can leave your role and you can go down and you can say, okay, here you can see the debating and you can hear it too, but now my opinion is. And they have learned so much about this topic that they can say their opinion too. And you can do it with the whole classroom. Yeah, so you can ask your students, okay, what is your opinion of this topic? Now they have a good opinion because they could hear a lot of argumentative arguments in this field. So that's how you could handle the debating. But then, for a writing class, it's very interesting too, you have to write down the debating. So you use the planning paper and you use your notes of the debating, and then you sit down and write down your argumentative text. And that's very powerful to see how your argument is in a debating procedure, and then you have more ideas for your writing. Weiter? Okay, weiter. Okay, weiter. Okay, again, yeah. Here you can see a picture. It's from, you can see a debating situation. So you are not alone. So you have two guys or two buddies on one side, but the whole group is working together in the planning stage. And with the whole group, you can go to the reflection and to the feedback phase too. Weiter? Weiter? Okay, so I will give you only a short introduction to the writing. The writing is from Steve Graham and Karen Harris. It's called Self-Regulatory Strategy Development, SRSD. It's a very powerful writing approach. I think if you check it in the media, you will find over 200 intervention studies all over the world. And Steve Graham and Karen Harris worked with different genres. They worked with different schools, with different ages. And you can find a lot of studies between the primary school and even high school students too. So we know a lot of this research, and there go through this writing research to 6 phases too. So 6 is very important, you think. So first of all, you have to know more about the genre and the writing task. And then in the second phase, you can discuss the criteria of the genre. In the third phase, you have to model the writing task. So that's the point. So you're in the front of your classroom and you show your students how do you deal with the writing task. And you have to think aloud. they see, perhaps they see a little mistakes of you, but it doesn't matter, because now they can see, okay, the teachers, they are doing mistakes too. It doesn't matter, but they have the competence to go through the text again and again to make the text better. So that's the point. And so they can observe your writing arrangement. And that's very powerful to see it. And they transfer it in their own writing arrangement too. You can see it. You have to try. After that, they have a lot of time and for independent learning or other writing tasks to train it. But they are not alone. They could handle with peer feedback, and they could create a text together in a collaborative writing with one laptop or even with 2 laptops. So if you see a lab, and if you see they are sitting students together into one writing task, it's a very authentic situation, because if you are sitting together, then they said, okay, how do you create this sentence? Or here, could you read it? So it's the normal way if you are working together. And here in this phase, you could use this. So don't leave your students alone with the laptop and the writing task. Please give them a little bit more free time to go through the text, to speak together with their buddies to the text. And if you are interested in this kind of works, I think you will find a lot of research in your language too. So the base of this self-regulated strategy development is the work of John Hayes. And here you can see the writing model of John Hayes 2012, and here you can see all the variables who are responsible for the writing competences. So you can see on 3 levels. On the control level, a lot of variables like writing motivation. On the process level, like the collaborators or the planning and writing and rewriting. And you can see also, and that's very important for the individual learners, that all students have different resources for reading, for working memory, for the attention, and for the long-term memory. And they're all playing together in writing. So, and that's the point of why writing is so complex, and for some students not very easy. Okay, we have sampled a lot of data between 2021, it was the COVID time, until May last year. And we have collected data with one online software. In the grade 9, they got a laptop, and they could write their writing tasks in the laptop. And as a researcher, you can observe the writing process. So the writing time, the words, the amount of the words. You can see the switches between the writing task, the plan of their writing, the planning stage of their writing, and the writing editor field. And that's very interesting for us, because we don't know a lot of, in Germany, we don't know a lot of writing argumentations in grade 9, but we have these kind of writing tasks in the 10th grade, in the examen. And the exam is not even writing, it's also, there are also tasks like reading tasks and tasks about orthography and grammar too. It's a very big examen over 180 minutes, and we gave the students a writing task, and they need 45 until 60 minutes for the writing task, and they don't or they didn't write very fluently in 40 minutes. They got time for think through too, and now that was the reason why with the digital media and why the digital tool Gorilla, that's the point that we could sample the data and to know more about the writing behavior of the students in grade 9. We worked with RStudio, that's a statistic program, and 90% of our over 1,000 text we have analyzed were double-blind coded. Okay, further. Okay, here you can see the research questions and the hypothesis. Okay. So here I will give you, these are the first results of this research project. Yeah. So the question was, how does the text length, the number of words, of the participating students' argumentative text develop over the course of the teaching project? And the answer is, the participants in the intervention groups write longer argumentative text after completing the argumentation training than those in the control groups. You are asking what's going on in the control group. In the control groups, we gave them the writing task too, but only the writing task, and it's what it was a very traditional way of learning, without modeling, without peer collaboration. And the second result is the improvement in text length tends to be visible for both intervention groups, even in the follow-up. So that's very interesting, that also in the follow-up study screening, that we can see that they wrote longer text. And we sampled a lot of data in the first screening, in the pre-test, that there were a lot of students who said, okay, this is a writing task, I know, but I have no idea. No idea. 1 year prior examen. And that was, for us, it was a big result. Okay, I think we have a little bit go through. Now I will a little bit give you a conclusion of all these projects. So the first one is the theater projects. In the theater project, we could see in this first 4 cycles, in the intervention group, a slight improvement in reading competence can be measured after only a short time. But I have to give you the improvement in reading competence is only on the sentence level, not on the subject or social level. An improvement in self-efficacy can be measured in the intervention group. The effect is particularly high directly after the theater project. So that's why, because they were very, very proud to be on the stage and to show their work. The field observations clearly showed that struggling students also benefit from the scenic play, and that the length of the project allows individual support for these students. In addition, they learn by observing their classmates and through their support. So there were a lot of situations that they see how they deal with a text or with a scene, how they read it, how they interpret it is, but then they switch the role and they try it again, and they need the modeling phase through, and it was very powerful for the struggling readers. Both the results of the feedback questionnaire and the field observations have shown that the group cohesion has grown through the scenic play and new friendships have formed through the project. Nobody was excluded or felt uncomfortable in the group during the project. And that's a very, very, for teachers and for researchers too, that was a very good result. To the debating project, the conclusion is the pilot study confirms the effectiveness of the SLSD approach for promoting writing competence in the context of written argumentation as well. For the development of writing competence from the teacher's point of view, it seems to tend to be fruitful to start with oral argumentation, as debating, first, and then to deepen written argumentation. And that's the first phase, the second phase. The writing plan should not only be used as a compulsory examination task, but also specifically as scaffolding in the classroom. The results of the study show that the interventions have the potential to sustainably promote the writing competencies of 9th grade students of all school types. And that's the end. So perhaps, do you see points for collaborations? Do we have any questions and impulses to these 3 projects? How could we create our research collaboration? Weiter? Okay, and now we wish feedback and new impulses for future research. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. Dank, right? Okay, Dank Schulz. Yeah, I'm starting learning. So, agora a gente abre para perguntas, se vocês tiverem perguntas aqui da audiência e também das pessoas que estão assistindo online. Alguém aqui tem alguma pergunta? Lembrando que quem está aqui tem uma lista de frequência, então quem não assinou, por favor, assine. Quem está assistindo online, já foi disponibilizado também no chat uma lista de frequência. Então eu vou fazer uma pergunta aqui que veio pelo chat. I'm going to make a question that was introduced here on the web chat. First, it's from Andrea Schmitz. She's a PhD candidate here in education. First, I congratulate the Potsdam team for this specific and organic class model for inclusive classroom. I would like to have access to the English version when it's available, when it will be done. Great to know about the randomized system for the debating turns. I also like to fishbowl similar system. It makes me think of the pedagogical strategy of Socratic seminars, but improve it. Do you use video recording of the debating session as a reflexive tool with the students? This is the question.
Yeah, that was the plan, but the ministry for who is responsible for the research planning, they said there's no chance to have videos in the classrooms. So I think it's data police. But we use video clips. They are presented in the YouTube too, of a lot of debates from Jugend debattiert. It's in German, but I think you have video clips in English too. And we did analyze these video clips with our students in the intervention group.
Ok, então lembrando mais especificamente em relação ao projeto de teatro, que amanhã, quinta-feira à tarde, das 2 às 4 horas, tem um workshop que eles irão apresentar relacionado ao projeto de teatro. Então, para quem não fez inscrição ainda, tinha acho que 3 ou 4 vagas, é possível fazer. I'm just reminded that tomorrow you are going to running the workshop, here, related to the theater project, and also from Andrea, Dr. Winnie, thank you so much for such a comprehensive presentation, and also for the generosity of your sharing and all of the details and methodological process. Looking forward to learning more from you and your team in the near future, and maybe doing a lot of collaborative research together, starting with complex instruction.
I will do it.
Yeah. Pessoal, tem alguma pergunta de vocês aqui no auditório? Por favor. Pode fazer em português que a gente tenta.
I think you will give, I think there are some opportunities for this collaboration, but if you want to begin small, and if you have a class and you want to try out these kind of projects, then you could begin. We offer Zoom calls, so if you are very interested in, then you can write me an email. And it's for us, we have a colloquium, a digital colloquium for the different projects. And you could get the material, but the materials are in German. So the first of all, we have to translate these kind of materials, and you have to translate it in Portuguese too. But then you can begin in a school, and we could a little bit guide you with a coaching system to reflect in each week your teaching efforts. And for the research, we have a colloquium too, one time in a week, and it's a colloquium. It's very open in the field of literacy research, in English, and sometimes only in German. So we have different weeks, the A and B weeks. The A week is an international week, so you can speak it in English, and the second week is in German language. But there is an opportunity to collaborate with us.
Acho que é um começo, então, né? Você colocou à disposição e toda semana eles têm os encontros. Os colóquios vão se alternando, uma vez em alemão e outra vez em inglês. Mas acho que esse é um início para se um projeto vingar, ter de fato a possibilidade de aplicar para as agências, o DAD, o DFG, o DFG e o DAD. She's asking if this project that you are running, it's more focused for the graduate students or for undergraduate students?
It's for undergrad and master students too.
Tanto alunos de graduação como de pós-graduação, e alguns deles envolvem professores de escola também, né? E da comunidade e tudo mais. Um deles ela mencionou até de policymakers, ou seja, os legisladores também fazem parte das discussões para ajudar, né, a criar condições para que possam ser implementados, coisas assim. Tudo bem? Por favor.
Yes, my colleague, Professor Birte Friedrich, she is responsible for teaching in inclusive context. So she has got a share in this field of research, and she is in the faculty of math and nature science. I'm in the faculty of arts, but we are working together.
I will check the website.
Yeah, I can give it you.
Pessoal, mais alguma pergunta? No chat aqui eram só aquelas que eu já tinha colocado, alguns comentários, né, parabenizando. I'm just asking if there are any more questions, because on the web chat we have some more comments congratulating about this presentation. And so in this sense, I guess that we can conclude and finish here, and just remind you that if you are online and didn't sign the list of presents, please do it. E se vocês aqui não esqueceram de assinar, por favor, façam. So I would like to really say thank you so much for this, as Andrea said, a very comprehensive presentation, because I guess that can inspire other students. And also, I guess that for those that are not able to attend here in person or also online live, you can reach the record, because the Professor Winnie-Karen generous open the possibility to access the recording later after the session. Okay? So thank you very much. Muito obrigado. Dankeschön.
Obrigada.